Christian Miller, two-time national champion and team captain for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and former Carolina Panther, and his father, Corey Miller, the pastor of pain, a 9-year NFL veteran with the New York Giants, and University of South Carolina Hall of Famer. This is the Miller's Edge.
And welcome into this Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Chase, I like it. I don't remember what we called it. What did Q come up with in terms of the name for like the Latin inspired music day or that theme? What did we call it? Was it gosh, I'm drawing a blank. It had to be something with an F, right? Wasn't it last Friday? Correct me if I'm wrong, Chase. Do you remember?
Last Friday, yeah.
He came up with something. It was a great name, though. It was a great name. It was something about something, or maybe it was a Tuesday. Maybe he said like Latin Tracks Tuesday. I don't know. It's a Friday. Latin Flavor Friday. I don't know. Anyway, shout out to Chase for that. Hope you guys are doing well. We got some great weather. We just were chatting it up before we started. Me and Chase were talking about how hot it is. At least it's sunny. So there's that. I did go walk my dog a little bit before it got too hot. I didn't want to have him out there too much, but we need to get him a little bit of exercise. But thankfully, I have my Good Feet arch sports in. Why do those matter? Because if you're like me, you like to walk your dog, you like to move around, do a whole bunch of things. You're on your feet. You already know that with that comes, aches, pains, and just gets, to be a little bit of a stressful, hassle, right? Well, when you got Good Feet arch supports, it's not so much. They are designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain. So me and my dog can go walk as many laps around the neighborhood as we want. Pain-free thanks to the Good Feet arch supports. So you got to check them out. Midtown Village is where you can find them here in Tuscaloosa, right there off of McFarland Boulevard. You can't miss it. They've got first-class customer service. If you guys know me, I'm huge on that. I don't care how good of a deal it is. If your customer service is not good, I'm not going to be a supporter. Well, luckily, the Good Feet store, they are first class, man. Every experience that I've had in there has been phenomenal, even before we teamed up, man. So I definitely urge you guys to check them out. If you're not here, don't worry about it. Always go to their website to find out more information, how this personalized system, this 3-step system that is clinically proven to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain in 4 short weeks will help you. Go to their website, goodfeet.com. Also, you can find the nearest location to you. Again, that's the Good Feet store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. And get this right there on the website, as you guys see on the stream. Good feet, good life. They normally say good wife, good life, but I like this one a little bit better right now. Good feet, good life. So make sure you guys check out the Good Feet store. That being said, it is a Friday, a free-for-all Friday. We want to hear from you guys, 205-342-9904. We're live on YouTube as well, obviously, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Shout out to Justin. He says, ¿Cómo estás? Chase, I think we're influencing a whole bunch of people here. I think the new wave is going to be everybody's going to start learning Spanish thanks to the Miller's Edge. So really cool stuff. Maybe we'll just start doing Miller's Edge Spanish lessons. Not during the show, don't worry. I know our sports fans are like, oh, no more in Spanish, but maybe we'll start some on the side. Kidding, but not kidding. That being said, Free for All Friday, want to hear from you. 205-342-9904 is the number. We got some interesting stuff to get into, Chase. Now, obviously, each day some more news comes out. Thank God it gives us something to talk about. Dog days of summer, not always easy to go through when it's not football season or, some of these other big. Obviously, NBA playoffs taking place, but we'll talk about it a little bit. Not much. But that being said, we got some more news rolling out, some big news, this time regarding the college football playoffs, how this could affect a team like Alabama. We'll talk about what was unveiled yesterday, what it might mean. We'll break that down. It's actually a really good change in my eyes, something that I thought was necessary, something that, to me, after seeing how the first 12-team playoff played out last season, it was something that I was hoping they would get done. Luckily, they already did it just like that. Going into this season, we'll have that change. I'll talk about what that is when we come back. Plus, we got some other videos to talk about. Listen to a little bit more of that Kalen DeBoer video, probably finish that up a little bit. Just had a few minutes left. And always, we see some videos Alabama-based or, something that catches our attention. We're going to watch it and listen to it and break it down. I say watch because, again, if you guys are with us here on the YouTube stream, you can see the screen. We share that. We watch the videos. We pull up clips. We do all that. Plus, you can always interact in the chat. So I urge you guys, if you have YouTube, go check us out at the Miller's Edge. We are live right now doing the stream. Plus, you can always go back and watch if you missed it. And always, if you're listening via the app or radio, perfect, no problem with that. You can always call us, drop those app messages there to be involved as well. That being said, we got to hit a timeout and we come back. We just get started right here on the Miller's Edge, Title 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Quick timeout. Be right back. Si dieras clases de español, definitivamente las tomaría. Justin, you got to be using a translator, man. No way, no way somebody that wants to learn Spanish would know how to use all that subjunctive formula like that. It's good stuff, though. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will teach some Spanish class someday, man. I don't know. I spend so much time learning and all that crap. I might as well at some point. Honestly, I don't know. My goal is to one day do like a I don't know, like talk football, but in Spanish. I feel like there's like I feel like there's a lane for that. And the reason I say that is like obviously the sport is growing. We talked about the Olympics, right? There's a lot of people that want to learn about football. Obviously, it's not real big in some places right now, but I feel like that's why there's a lane for it. You get a head start on there. You know, you definitely could get a head start. Because I think it's going to end up growing. And I don't know, maybe we start a little Spanish football or sports channel and it, you know, catches some steam. I just think it'd be cool. Honestly, it's more so just for the challenge of it, man. I just think if I can get to that point where I can host a show, I think my goal of being like, I would say I'm fluent right now, but obviously fluency is really determined by like the the number of things you can talk about, right? Because once you get to a certain point, like it's really about learning new subjects, new topics, vocabulary on that stuff. Yeah, you caught me. I use Google Translator. I would like learn. Yeah, no, only reason, like I said, I mean that sentence structure that you use is literally like si dieras clase. That like that's it's called the subjunctive, right? So that's how I knew. I was like, that's advanced. If you gave Spanish classes, I definitely would take them. That's what that means, if anybody's wondering. Yeah, man. But yeah, if you want to learn, you definitely should. I always joke around with Chase, and y'all probably seen Q06 in here. Sorry, my allergies are killing me today. But I always mess with them and try to teach them a little bit here and there. Let me pull this up. Okay, why is my keyboard acting weird? That's great. Okay, good. All right, now we're back. I was like, what just happened? I have a lot of customers in the inner cities that I deal with. Speak Spanish, and I've learned just enough to get by. Anyway, it's really cool. So we actually got a handful of people that are kind of interested in it. All right, cool. That's cool, Mike. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, it's definitely useful. I mean, depending where you're at, it's gonna be more useful than other places. But
the weather, Sky.
I'll be honest with you, I just think it's cool as hell just to learn something new like that. Honestly, I'd recommend it to anybody. It's probably been the coolest thing that I've done in a while. I mean, obviously, I've had some cool opportunities.
Thunderstorms around, highs between 82
in terms
and
of like just going out and doing something, I
Spann
think
of
it's
the
one of the
ABC
coolest
30 to
things.
20
for
Weather
sure.
Center on Tide 100.9. It's 80 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this free for all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, and live on YouTube as well. Hope everybody is doing good. Hope you guys are getting a great start to your Memorial Day weekend. I don't know why. I just almost struggled to say that. But, yeah, hope everybody's getting off to a good start. I mentioned some news about the college football playoffs, Chase. We might as well just kick things off right there. I think that's probably going to be the big hit for today, obviously. On the Free For All Friday, we can go anywhere and everywhere. So if you guys have anything, drop it in the chat, the app inbox, or give us a phone call. But we'll start here. The college football playoff system, again, it expanded last season to 12 teams. We've talked about it, got y'all's thoughts on that, saw, what everybody thought about the new expansion. Some people loved it, others hated it, others indifferent. I guess it didn't really affect us too much because we weren't in it. But there was something, Chase, that really stood out and was something that a lot of people were like, you know what, I'm not sure this is the right way to do it. And it wasn't about the number of teams, so to speak. It was about the seeding and who was determined to get, the first round buys. Remember, this past season, the way it worked was, excuse me, they went off the conference champions. Why you saw a team like ASU and Clemson, be rewarded, right? Well, this time around, they're putting an end to that. And in my opinion, rightfully so. Chase, to me, that was one of the biggest flaws from last season's college football playoffs. To me, it didn't make much sense how you could have a team like a Clemson or even an ASU who, was ranked far below some of these other top teams, but they were the ones getting the buys. You get what I'm saying? It just was very interesting. That being said, the new order is going to be like this. It's going to be a lot more straightforward, and I'm going to share this article right here that we're reading to give you the details. Because what's going to happen now is teams are going to be placed strictly on where they're ranked instead of, rewarding the conference champions. So what that means, so the top teams are going to get those buys, which is what it should have been the whole time. They're not going to put as much stock into the conference champions. Look, if we had 4 conferences that were all equal in terms of competitiveness and really just the level of competition there amongst them, I mean, yeah, sure, I think you could get away with that. The problem is it's not like that. I mean, you really have got 2 juggernauts, then everybody else is just behind. So rewarding those other conference champions and putting them over teams that are clearly much better teams than them, that just clearly makes much more sense. And that's what they're going to do. So the new format will no longer guarantee an opening bye week for the 4 highest-ranked league champions, reserving that benefit for the 4 top-ranked teams in general. So the 4 top-ranked teams are just going to get that reward instead, which is really what it should have been. Again, it looks a lot cooler when you think about like, the league champions. If it was all even, that would be, I don't even know if it looks cooler, but you get what I'm saying. I get like, it kind of sounds like, okay, you got this champion, this champion, this champion, almost like it's some like big special tournament type deal. But the reality is the leagues aren't the same. They're not built the same. The change is widely expected after last season's jumbled bracket gave buys to the Big 12 champion Arizona State and Mountain West champion Boise State, even though they were ranked 12th and 9th respectively by the playoff selection committee, which again, it's just to me, it's common sense. The 12 and 9th team shouldn't be getting buys when you've got other top teams sitting there. I think it's pretty evident. That system made the rankings and the seedings in the tournament 2 different things and resulted in some matchups. For instance, the quarterfinal between top-ranked Oregon and eventual national champion Ohio State that came earlier than they otherwise might have. That's another good point to think about instead of, fast forward in some of those top games. After evaluating the first year of the 12-team playoff, the CFP management committee felt it was in the best interest of the game to make this adjustment, said Rich Clark. And let's see, the 5 highest-ranked conference champions will still be guaranteed spots in the playoffs, meaning it's possible there could be a repeat of a different sort of shuffling seen last season when college football's number 16, Clemson, was seated 12th in the bracket after winning the ACC. That ended up costing the 11th-ranked Alabama a spot in the playoffs. So, obviously, you're hearing this as an Alabama fan. You're kind of like, well, damn. Well, wish this could have been the case last year, but at least moving forward, it will be. Under the new arrangement, the 4 top-ranked conference champions will still receive $8 million for their leagues, representing the $4 million that they earn for making the playoffs and the $4 million for advancing to the quarter finals. that was the commissioner's way, at least for this year, holding to the commitment that they have made financially to those teams, those conference champions in particular, that would have been paid those amounts of money, the former system that we used last year. So, as you can see, I mean, they're trying to get this thing right. In my opinion, they're doing the right thing here, something that should have been done last year, but you live and you learn, go from experience. I'm just glad they did it just like that, Chase, instead of trying to wait a couple years. It seems like they're trying to, I'm not saying do it on the fly, but they're being quick with it, trying to get things right and sort it out. So that's good. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey was among those who pushed for the change in the upcoming second year of the 12-team playoff, though he remained cautious about it being approved because the unanimous vote needed. Smaller conferences had a chance to use the seating issue as leverage for the next set of negotiations, which will come after this season and could include an expansion to 14 teams and more guaranteed bids for certain leagues. The SEC and Big Ten will have the biggest say in those decisions. Again, we talked a little bit about that, potentially seeing a 16-team playoff, 4 guaranteed SEC teams, 4 guaranteed Big Ten teams in that. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. But at least for now, the top teams being rewarded, to me, that's at least one step in the right direction. That was something that needed to be done. As it stands, this will be the third different playoff system for college football in the span of 3 years. For the 10 years leading into this, in last season's inaugural 12-team playoff, the CIP was a 4-team affair. The seating change was first reported by ESPN, which last year signed a 6-year, $7.8 billion deal to televise the expanded playoffs. The playoff of the upcoming season begins December 19th on the campuses of those teams ranked 5 through 8. All games beginning with the quarterfinals will be at neutral sites, ending with the title game on January 19th at Hard Rock Stadium outside of Miami. So there you have it. So in my opinion, Chase, it's the right move. Obviously, I just feel like the top teams should have been getting those buys. They should be rewarded. Again, if the leagues were created equal, I could understand that, but the fact is they're not. So that being said, to me, that was big news. Plus, I know I read a whole bunch of that. I do want to listen to a clip. We've got a clip to hear them talk about it. I always like getting other opinions and thoughts on that, so we'll probably hear that. Plus, when we come back, I'd love to get y'all's responses. 205-342-9904 is the number, or you can always drop your responses here in the chat, at message, all that good stuff. What do you think about it? Do you think this is the right move, giving the top teams the right to those buys, switching it up from the conference champions, which we saw Boise State, right? ASU. What are your thoughts on that? I want to get those when we come back on this free-for-all Friday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch sport experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
.365 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama.
All right, let's see. ESPN has Bama number 2 preseason. Oh yeah, I saw it. That's a great point, Mike. I'm glad you brought that up. We'll hit that here in a second. There's a good one too. I just happened to see this on my home screen. We got Greg McElroy's prediction. The over and under. Yeah, we can hit that too. Yeah, we'll definitely dive into that, Mike. I saw that was interesting. I think they had what? Penn State won. Let's see. I think I got it pulled up over here. What's up, Tay? What's up, C? Oh, no, I thought I had it pulled up. Did I not? Oh, yeah, there it is. They had Ohio State 1. Penn State was 3. I think, sorry, guys, I'm all over the place today. Bear with me. I think the playoff decision is a step in the right direction. Last year's first round day games were all unwatchable. Yeah, they weren't very good. Matter of fact, let me pull up that list real quick, or that last year's bracket. Yeah, because you had Arizona State and Boise State getting buys, which to me was just dumb. Not to mention, Clemson ended up getting that spot over us just because they're ACC champions. Man, I need some like hot tea or something, man. All good. We're gonna rock and roll and finish this thing out strong. Let's see. Let me share this with our Twitter too. Yeah, I mean, I like Ohio State too. I mean, I know people are saying, "Oh, they lost some people," but I think they're gonna be solid again.
Record of over 30 plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. Hope everybody is doing great. We've been talking about this new playoff change, right? Something that I felt was definitely necessary after watching last season's inaugural 12-team playoff. Again, the big change that we're talking about is instead of those conference champions being rewarded the buys, where we saw teams like Boise State, ASU getting buys, now we're actually going to have it where the top 4 teams automatically get those buys, which to me is common sense. It's a no-brainer. Again, leagues are not created equal. You've got 2 top leagues, SEC, Big Ten. Other than that, they're not created equal. That being said, obviously this needed to happen, so it's good to see that they went ahead and made the change. Let's go ahead and hear CBS Sports break it down and also give their thoughts on who will benefit the most from this new change.
CBS Sports HQ, or the College Football Playoff Committee, has approved a major change for the 2025 season, and this has been confirmed by our very own Brandon Marcello. So this year's playoffs will feature straight seeding, eliminating first-round buys for the 4 highest-ranked conference champions. So instead, the top 4 seeds, as determined by the committee, will receive first-round buys regardless of their affiliation with leagues and conferences. So the change was unanimously approved by the 10 FBS conferences, along with Notre Dame. So for more on this seating shift, let's bring in the one and only Brandon Marcello. And Brandon, I know you are a very busy guy right now, and there's a lot of different changing things in college football, as there always is with the landscape. But ultimately, Brandon, in terms of this seating, what ultimately led to this change being made?
Well, they kind of just want to test it out, right? I mean, it just seems like they want to test things out year to year. This is a 1-year stopgap, right? Because in 2026, they're going to be looking to expand the playoff to 14 teams or 16 teams. Most likely 16 teams will be the answer, with quite a few automatic qualifiers. But the way it stands now, as we saw from last year, we had 12 teams. The 4 highest-ranked conference champions were assured buys. Well, that's no more. Only thing assured in this new seeding for 2025 is the 5 highest-ranked conference champions will be in the playoff, but you'll go in based off of where you're ranked, 1 through 12. So this past year, you would have seen 2 different teams there getting first-round buys than you would have in the usual years. So we're getting a look at what things could be in 2026 and beyond. But again, 26 and beyond are going to look a lot more different, where we're going to see as many as 4 automatic qualifiers apiece from the Big Ten and SEC, and maybe 2 apiece from the ACC and Big 12 as well.
Yeah, so to piggyback off of that, Brandon, if we're looking ahead to 2026, we're talking about expansion, potentially 16 teams that are in the college football playoff. I know you said this is just kind of a stopgap, but right now, is it going to have any impact down the line on 2026? Or are you viewing this as kind of 2 separate things, where this seeding is what it's going to look like for now, and then we'll get to 2026 when we get there?
Everything in these boardrooms and negotiations have purpose. And for my discussions over the last couple of weeks, when we first broke this story that approval was coming last week, we expected that the ACC and Big 12 were kind of maneuvering here to maybe get some better things down the road for 26 and beyond. Because as I said, the ACC and Big 12 are only going to get 2 automatic qualifiers in the current proposal for 26 and beyond, whereas the Big 10 SEC are get twice as that with 4 apiece. So there's some discussion happening here. Also some financial considerations going forward as well. If the Big 12 and ACC kind of give something up, they want something back in return, and that could happen as soon as we see this year with some financial help, but also in 26 and beyond. Another thing to look at here is not necessarily just the format, but in 2028, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark has been stressing to everybody that there's a look-in with the CFP, and that then they could change the payout structure. So let's say the ACC or the Big 12 have more people in the playoff than they were expecting. Well, then that would demand more money for them in the future starting in 2028. So the ACC and Big 12 know the SEC and Big 10 have the controlling voting power, but they're giving some things up right now to set themselves up, hopefully for them to have more strength and power in the boardrooms in the next coming years.
That's what it all comes down to, right? Strength, power, and of course, money. We can't forget that. So we know this was unanimously decided approved, by the 10 FBS conferences plus Notre Dame. So when you're looking at that, who is ultimately benefiting from this new seating shift the most, Brandon?
You know, to be quite honest, the SEC and the Big 10, right? Because they would have more teams getting first-round buys there in the top 4, because every year practically at least one of those conferences is going to have 2 in the top 4. And this past year, you would have had quite a few in there. In fact, you would have had 2 from each conference, as you're seeing on the screen right now. That would mean more money, right? Well, that's where the financial compromise comes in. They're not going to change the payout structure necessarily for the conference champion. So if you're a conference champion and you're in the playoff, you're still going to get a higher payout than everybody else. So that's going to remain. It's just that this is going to help with these teams getting some more rest in the SEC and Big 10. Competitively, they get an advantage rather than maybe financially.
But sometimes, rest isn't always a good thing. We saw that with Oregon in the CFP, so we'll have to see. Brandon, we certainly appreciate it joining us here on CBS Sports HQ as we were talking about yet some more breaking news as it pertains to college football. Some changes coming to the seeding format where the top 4 seeds are going to get those first-round buys regardless of their conference affiliation. As we push things ahead to the 25-26 season, getting a look at the odds to win it all, Texas and Ohio State at 6-1. Georgia 7-1, and then we have Oregon and Penn State rounding out those top 5 odds.
And there you have it. So that was CBS Sports giving us a little bit more of an explanation there. Chase, it's so interesting when they start throwing around like the money involved, the compensation, all this stuff, man. It just reminds you that at the end of the day, all this is a business. We're sitting there talking about, seeding for our teams to get in. They're all focused on the whole money aspect and stuff, which I'm still trying to figure out. Is that going to be part of like the new deal, Chase, that will allow this whole revenue share or whatever it's called, where teams are allotted up to like $20 million a share annually with their student athletes? Is this money included in that whole? I'm kind of confused on all this at this point. Do you have any idea on that, Chase, by chance?
No, it's still confusing to me right now.
Dude, I'm telling you,
looking
because I'm
into it
like,
as we speak, because I thought it was still the same as it was with the format last year in terms of money wise.
Yeah, it's just confusing when they talk about, awarded, or compensated this amount of money, XYZ.
So the schools are still given the same amount of money. So whatever, I think each school got like 7 million, or the Power 4 did. So they'll still get that much money, but the conference champions will still get their 8 million that they were getting last year. They're just not getting the automatic buys now.
Yeah, but what I'm asking, why is where does this money go, right? Because they also said it's contributed to the conference, right? And then the conference splits that among all the teams in the conference. But is it just going to the school? But is the school allowed to divert that towards this new allotment of $20 million for student? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, what is this money? Who's getting the money?
So the money's going to go. The money's going to go to the school. It's going to go to the conference allotment. So Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee. The SEC got $21 million for all 3 combined making the playoff. The SEC then divides that by 16 and sends it to the athletic departments. Then it's up to the athletic department to determine where that money's going to go. So if, even though Alabama didn't make the playoff, they got a cut of that $21 million. And then it's up to Alabama to decide, do we want to put this towards football, men's basketball, softball, baseball, whatever sport they want to put it towards at that point. But the athletic department is given a cut of that money. It's then up to the athletic department to determine where that money goes.
Got it. So that makes more sense. So basically what you're saying is, the teams that make the playoffs, they're winning basically, or, getting compensation for being there, but it goes to the conference. The conference then, it's not distributed evenly. They don't just say, all right, we got $21 million last year, we're going to divide this by 16 and give it to everybody equally. You're saying they'll decide, depending on the contributions by each program, how much they receive out of that. Is that what you said?
No, it's divided evenly. So take 21 million.
It's just divided by 16.
Take 21 million, divide it by 16. That's what every school got for Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee making the playoff last season.
I don't know how I feel about that. I hate to say it like that, but I almost feel like, maybe look at the contributions by each team and then kind of go from there, regardless. And then my last point, why that I was curious about, when you say they can choose, each program can choose where they want it to go, like how they want to allot that money, but is that separate from the new $20 million fund that they're allowed to disperse to their student athletes?
Yes, that is different than the $20 million revenue share cap. So Alabama got $1.3 million roughly for 3 other teams making the playoffs. So that can go towards coaches' salaries, facility updates, recruiting budgets, not for players, but to travel across the country in recruiting or host recruits. It can go to anything. It just pretty much is not going directly to the athlete because of the revenue sharing cap that's coming in here, I guess, in 2 months.
And this is so interesting, man. That's good though that schools get some money back to reinvest in themselves. I respect that. I'm like, I don't know how. Well, damn, I was going to just throw Vanderbilt out because we're used to just kind of acting like Vanderbilt's irrelevant, but they beat us. Can't really use them.
But like Arkansas, Mississippi State, right?
Yeah, I was like, no offense, Chase, no offense, but Mississippi State was pretty bad last year. I'm just like, I don't know if they really deserve the same amount as the teams that made. I almost feel like the teams that make it should get, I don't know, 30% or something, or I'm just making numbers up. Then the next top teams. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree. I think the teams that make the playoffs, so again, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, I feel like they should have gotten the majority of the share and then kind of do it a percentage-wise from there. We know Alabama, South Carolina, they were right there in the hunt at, I believe, the 11th ranked team and the 13th ranked team. Ole Miss was right behind them at 16, and so I think they should have gotten more of a cut. Yeah, tiers. They should have gotten more money than
tier 3. Tier 1 would be the teams in the playoffs. Tier 2 would be Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina, maybe one more, LSU, maybe. Then tier 3 would be the rest. That's how I would do it. Not that it really matters, but I think that makes sense. I don't know. Just a thought. But thank you, Wyatt. I appreciate that because this whole thing still confuses me with all the changes and the compensations. But from this, we can revenue share from this, but this is going back to the athletic department. It's all over the place. But that's why we talk through it. And that's why we got people like Wyatt, Chase, guys who can help do some research and just know this stuff off the top of their head. So, all right, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling on this free-for-all Friday. And a couple other things to hit on. As you can see, there's some odds to win the college football playoff. I paused it right there. I thought that was interesting. Alabama at plus 1,300. Texas and Ohio State tied atop with plus 600 apiece. So, I don't know. Some people confident in Alabama. Plus, like Mike brought up over here on the stream, ESPN did come out with their list of, what do you call it? I guess preseason top 25 teams. We've looked at all these other people's top 25 teams. Why don't we look at theirs? Because they actually felt real strong about Alabama post-spring, according to their ESPN SP Plus College Football Top 25 list. We'll take a look at that and a couple other things when we come back, all right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
What's right? When buying her jewelry, what's right? There is an answer. That's what Fincher and Osmond is so good at. You just tell us what you see in her, why she's so special to you, what makes you wake up with her on your mind. What's right is at Fincher and Osmond today.
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher and Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and Local Roots.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you, aggressively pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
When you think of hot, you might think about the tragic time you ate too much wasabi. Or about getting into your car on a summer day when it feels more like stepping into a sauna. But heat can work in your favor, like during Verizon Red Hot Deal Days. Get hundreds of hot deals on all your favorites, like iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence, Apple Watch Series 10, and iPad, on any plan. Only until May 28th for new and existing customers. Offer available on My Plan. Only at Verizon.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Sky partly to mostly sunny this afternoon, the high 82. Tonight, mostly fair with the low at 62. Tomorrow and Sunday, a mixture of clouds and sunshine both days with scattered showers and thunderstorms around. Highs between 82 and 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 80 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition, Latin flavor Friday edition, whatever you want to call it, man. We're having fun here. On the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC just got done talking about the new college football playoff moves that will be going into effect just this upcoming season. And again, just to recap that, the 4 top teams will automatically be rewarded those buys, no longer going to the conference champions. Now it's just the top 4 teams going off the seeding from the College Football Playoff Commission. That's how the order will be, which in my opinion is the right move and something that needed to be done. And like we heard from CBS in that video, sounds like they're kind of doing a little bit of trial and error. They took the route and the approach of awarding the conference champions, realized all leagues aren't created equal, and it's probably a little bit better if we just go off the top teams. I agree with that, and that's what they're going to do moving forward. They also mentioned how in 26 and beyond, there's even more changes expected, most notably potential expansion to 14 to 16 teams. I don't even think I would say potential. I mean, I think it's going to happen. It's more a matter of whether it's going to be 14 or 16. I believe they'll probably end up going with 16, and we'll see how that looks. But it makes you really wonder if you're an Alabama fan. I mean, are we even going to be arguing about making the playoffs or not at that point? Because, I mean, I would imagine 16 teams in the playoffs, knock on wood, you probably could pencil in Alabama year in and year out. So that being said, we'll see how this season's college football playoffs look, and we'll see what changes come from that. Segueing a little bit, again, if you guys want to comment on that, love to hear your thoughts. 205-342-9904. It is a free-for-all Friday, so we can go anywhere and everywhere. Something that came up on X that I saw, we're always scrolling on X, seeing what pops up. There's always something. Well, I thought this was pretty interesting, and it was intriguing. It's reported that Devontae Smith works out 5 a.m. He's been, working out at House of Athlete. Obviously, Smitty, having a great NFL career, coming off of a Super Bowl win. But looks like in the midst of his training for his upcoming season, he's taken a very familiar face under his wing, a guy by the name of Ryan Williams. It's been reported that Ryan Williams and Isaiah Horton both have been training with Smitty down at House of Athlete and got some good work in. One thing that I'm noticing off this picture, guys, I'm sure you guys can see this too. Ryan looks like he's putting on some size, a little bit of muscle, added a little bit of mass this offseason, which I think is a really good thing. Obviously, that was one thing that stood out about him coming out of high school. Not only was his age, but he's a little thin. A lot of people talked about, his size. Obviously, didn't have too much of effect on him last year. He had a phenomenal freshman campaign. But I think adding a little bit of bulk, nothing crazy, but adding some bulk just to kind of get a little bit stronger, more durable, never would hurt anybody. And to me, he looks like he's in great shape right here in this photo. But I brought this up, guys, because I'm curious on y'all's thoughts. I mean, looking at these two guys, you got one that's was a Heisman Trophy winner, now Super Bowl winner. Obviously, I feel like, any wide receiver would love to work with a guy like Smitty and learn from, one of the best in the game. But, you talk about Ryan Williams following in his shoes, in his footsteps. What do you guys think about this? Do you feel like, I know off potential, we all can sit here and say, yeah, Ryan Williams has a potential to do this. And what that is I'm asking, do you think he could, basically leave Alabama a more decorated or successful receiver than Devontae Smith? Potential-wise, we all know that, but do you guys feel that actually happens? Chase, let me ask you first, man. Do you feel like by the time Ryan Williams leaves the University of Alabama, he will have a career as good, if not better, than Devontae Smith, which, again, includes a Heisman Trophy, which I think that's probably, obviously, it's the Heisman Trophy. It's the best award, the biggest award in college football. You can't win anything bigger than that, right? Do you guys feel like he leaves here more decorated or more successful than Smitty, or no?
I don't think so, and that's not a knock to Ryan Williams because Smitty is probably the GOAT, in my opinion, in terms of wide receivers, accolades upon accolades and accolades. You kind of look at the era he was in and the style of offense. It was more prolific back then. I think you kind of look at the wide receivers back then, like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and so many others in the SEC. He was competing with that. And you kind of look at the wide receivers now. I wouldn't say they're not as competitive, but it adds more to it. And for Smitty to do that, especially under Nick Saban, I don't think you will see that ever replicated again. Not saying, we'll see a lot of accolades for Ryan Williams, but Smitty was that guy. It wasn't a play or it wasn't a game that I turned the TV on and he's making dudes look silly. And and his technique was something that a lot of wide receivers should watch. Hence the photo you see now on your stream.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if Ryan wants to reach that level, I think the distractions have to come to a low. You really didn't know much about Smitty. He didn't really he was very respectful on camera, but he was just working. It was work all the time, every day. He didn't really give a lot of media. And I think also just the way the SEC was back then in terms of defenses, he was able to really kind of adjust in a way that I think Ryan needs to learn. I think Ryan had the spotlight on him last year. And I think after that Georgia game, it was like, where is Ryan Williams at? And Smitty never ran from that. Smitty adjusted. He was able to work on his game, and hence why he won the Heisman Trophy, the Blitnikoff Award, the Maxwell Award. I'm literally reading on his bio how many he's won. So I think Ryan can get to that point. Can he? I don't know, but I think Smitty is a one of a kind wide receiver. Hence, you're seeing it in the NFL.
Yeah, no, Smitty is different. It's the craziest thing because I mean, I saw Smitty when he first came in as that 170-pound, whatever he weighed, small head, little thin, wiry frame, and then just watching him, his final year just completely dominate the game. And I mean, it's the craziest thing. And we always knew he was a really good player, but like, if you asked me the minute I saw him if I thought he would leave here a Heisman Trophy winner and as decorated as he was, I wouldn't have necessarily said that. And I don't think I'm wrong for that. I think people probably would say the same thing. I mean, we all, right? Because if anything, you probably would have thought a guy like a Calvin or somebody, you know what I mean, that came in a little bit like, when Calvin came in, you already see what he was doing. You're like, all right, man, yeah, this dude is like that. Smitty, he developed and he made himself into that. That's why I've got so much respect for this guy, man. Like you mentioned, he's sustaining that too, right? It's not like, oh, he had a good year in college. And then, no, I mean, we're seeing him do it at the pro level. I mean, he's coming off of a Super Bowl win. And he's also a really good dude too. But in terms of my question, I guess I'll answer it. It's tough, Chase. Let me throw these numbers on the screen for the stream. These are Smitty's numbers in college. So obviously he won a national championship as a freshman. Played very sparingly, only had 8 receptions for 160 yards, but obviously, and 3 touchdowns, I should add. But obviously, we know the most important one, right? That was obviously 2nd and 26. So he started off his career with, limited action, but obviously made it count when it mattered most. 2018, he caught 693 yards, 6 touchdowns. Each year, you see the improvement. 2019 went for over 1,250 yards, 14 touchdowns, comes back for his COVID season. Senior year, leaves with another national championship, just shy of 1,900 yards, 23 receiving touchdowns, 24 total. And so you guys see the number. Obviously, he walked away with the Heisman. Maxwell. Sorry, I don't want to. I'll just click on this. I'm drawing. Oh, All-American status, all that good stuff. Sorry. Anyway, so you guys see the success that he had. Let's look at Ryan Williams. So comparing that, Ryan Williams as a 17-year-old freshman, Chase, in 13 games caught for 165 yards and 10 touchdowns. So I'll say this. 8 receiving touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. I'll say this, Chase. Potential-wise, we all know he's got it. It's gonna be interesting to see. But let me just answer the question. It's just a very direct question. Do I think he walks away more decorated, more successful as Smitty? Chase, I don't know. Well, I'll say this. He's going to have one less year because we know he's leaving as a junior, right? So he would have to put up numbers better than 1,850 yards in a season, 23 receiving touchdowns. Can he beat that and win a Heisman? Man. Chase, I'll be honest with you. I'm torn on this, man. I don't even know where I want, because it's like in my head, like I'm like, I know he's got all the potential to do it. Like I think it's, but the problem is football. It's not just about one guy. If it was like track and these guys just had to, go out and beat themselves or beat their records, right? That's one thing. But in football, a lot of things have to go right. I mean, you're talking, Ryan Williams has to rely on the quarterback to get him the football. He's got to rely. The offensive line is going to give that quarterback time to throw the football. You know what I mean? So that being said, winning a Heisman is hard outside of being a quarterback, man. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think he wins a Heisman. I think he's definitely, top finalist, but I don't know. And if he doesn't win a Heisman, then he's not as decorated as Smitty. I mean, Heisman is Heisman, man. It speaks for itself. I don't know. Let me think on a little bit more after we hit this top of the hour timeout. But the question is, because we're looking at this picture right here, I'll throw it back on the screen. You got Ryan Williams training with a guy known as Devontae Smith. You guys probably know who that is. Heisman Trophy winner. The question is, do you guys feel that Ryan Williams leaves University of Alabama with a more successful career than Devontae Smith? I want to get y'all's response on the other side after this quick timeout. You listen to the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. All right, guys. I need a chat to wake up. I need y'all's help, man. What do y'all think about this? Is Ryan Williams leaving Alabama a more highly decorated wide receiver than Ryan? Sorry, my words are all over the place, man. I'm long day. Do you guys feel Ryan Williams leaves a more successful, highly decorated receiver than Smitty? That's the question. What's up, Southern? What's up, Kenji? Welcome in. What do you guys think? Again, let me go back over here. These were Smitty's numbers. Over 1,800 yards receiving, 23 touchdowns. National champion, I forgot to really put emphasis on that. Heisman Trophy winner. Do you guys feel that Ryan Williams leaves the University of Alabama more successful of a wide receiver than Devontae Smith? I don't know if I necessarily see that happening, even though I know he's got the potential to do that. And just like Chase said, not a knock by any stretch. It's just like a lot of things have to go right for all that to happen. And then when you just put all that in 1 year, national champion, Heisman Trophy winner, I mean, all these awards, All-Americans, records, that's tough. It's probably too soon to say. But no, that's what makes it tough, Southern. I mean, if it was, you know, we got to throw out these tough questions. That's what makes it fun. Makes you think. He seems to be wide receiver one, so it will be. Yeah, no, I mean, again, he's in position to have all the opportunities, but the question is, you just got to be yes or no. I know it's hard because I'm struggling with it myself. Do you believe that he'll walk out of here more successful than Smitty was? That's the question. Like honestly. Not that if he does he have the potential? Because we all agree on that. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think his ceiling is probably higher than a guy like Smitty in terms of like, you know, physical ability. But do you guys think everything falls in a place where he walks out more? That's the way I should word it, I guess. Really curious what you guys think. To me, I mean, it's obviously really tough, but I don't know if someone can. Oh, there you go. If he stays healthy, yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, all right. Now, when you ladies say yeah, that means you're expecting him to win a Heisman, and I even throw the national champion and a national championship in there. Let me pull this up. Everything that Smitty won. Of course, my dogs chime in. I think they're saying they think he'll leave here more decorated. That's what they're saying. Smitty left here, two-time national champion, national championship MVP. Let me go back. Heisman Trophy winner, Maxwell Award winner, Walter Camp Award winner, Bolitnikoff winner. Oh, Jesus Christ, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Here we go.
With scattered showers and thunderstorms around, highs between 82 and 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 81 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody's doing good. We finished hour number one talking a little bit about this article, this picture. Basically the news that Ryan Williams has been training with a former Alabama legend at the same position, wide receiver, in Devontae Smith, and led me to the question, do you guys believe that Ryan Williams will leave the University of Alabama as decorated or more than Devontae Smith? Chase said he doesn't think so. I'll be honest with you, Chase. I'm starting to really kind of lean into that. And again, to be clear, I think Ryan Williams has more potential than Smitty had when he was here in college. I think his ceiling is higher than a guy like Smitty's, even though Smitty is insanely talented. But when you look at Ryan Williams and everything that he's capable of and everything that he's done just at a young age, obviously the trajectory, I mean, you look at it and you would think this guy could probably even be twice as good as a guy like Smitty. But the problem is with football, man, so many things there's a lot of other factors and a lot of things have to come into play. And when you just talk about the accolades, right? I'm not going off of just like, as a player, is he is good or better. Again, I think potential-wise, skill set-wise, I think Ryan Williams definitely is number one. Where Ryan is at this age compared to where Smitty was, he's already light years ahead. But that's not what this is about. This is about, do you guys feel that he walks away with a career as, decorated as Smitty's? I'll be honest with you. After rereading everything that Smitty accomplished, specifically really all in the year of 2020, I just don't know how possible I see that being. Again, let me share this with you guys. Devontae Smith, here are some of his accolades you guys can see. 2-time college football playoff national champion, national championship offensive MVP, Heisman Trophy winner, Maxwell Award winner, Walter Camp Award winner, Fred Biletnikoff Award winner, Paul, what is that? Whatever award winner, AP College Football Player of the Year, Alabama's all-time leader in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and receptions. So, guys, when I'm asked if you think Ryan Williams will leave, more decorated than Smitty, I mean, we're talking about all those things that just got mentioned. Looking in the YouTube chat, we got some responses here. Southern says if he stays healthy, yeah. Yakenji says I'll go ahead and say yeah. Mike says I'm rooting for him. I just don't think Grubb's offense will allow it. They spread it around. That's a good point you make there. That's what I'm saying, guys. I mean, like, to just think about what Smitty was able to do, man. I don't know. Recreating that is going to be tough. I mean, this dude was putting up astronomical numbers and literally won every award you probably could imagine that a receiver could win in college football. So I don't know. Personally, I'll be honest with you. I don't think he quite achieves those things. Now, again, there's a difference between being as decorated or receiving as many accolades and in terms of just being a better player. I know that sounds kind of weird to say, but I think, Ryan Williams could go on to be a better receiver than Smitty, down the road. But does that mean he walks away with all that hardware? Again, so many things have to fall in line for that to happen. So that part, I don't know. But I do think potential-wise and skill set, definitely feel like he's got it in him and wouldn't be shocked if he ended up walking away a better receiver. But it's going to be really, really damn tough. All right, moving on to a couple other things that had come up, Chase. We mentioned the post-spring college football top 25 list. This one comes from ESPN. Obviously, we've been breaking a lot of these down, but this one's from ESPN. Obviously, we trust ESPN. We put some stock in there. Well, you gotta feel pretty good about this if you're an Alabama fan, right? You got Alabama coming at number 2 on ESPN's top 25 post-spring list, they follow Ohio State and are followed by Penn State, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Oregon, Clemson, LSU, and Michigan. So ESPN's putting some stock in the Alabama, Chase. And I think it's interesting. The early post-spring list kind of had Alabama floating around that like 9 to 12 range. And I think as some more lists started coming out, maybe people started really kind of letting it resonate for a second. I don't know. But I'll be honest, I wouldn't have Alabama quite that high, but I do think they're going to start creeping up as people really start to see kind of what they've got brewing for this upcoming season. Alabama's got a lot of key pieces in play that I think will definitely be attractive when you look at them going into the year. Obviously, all that stuff has to play out. We'll see how it does. But I thought this list was interesting. Alabama at number 2. Josh Pate had them high. I can't remember where he had them, Chase, but I know he did have them pretty high. So another list with a good spot for Alabama. Chase, in your opinion, Alabama being number 2, man, too high, or what are you thinking on that?
Looking at the order of it, I would say top 5, 2. I'm shocked ESPN, because I think they had them a little outside earlier in the months, like the way too early projections. But I would say it's a little too high. I think maybe top 5. Like if you look over like Penn State with Drew Aller and Coach Franklin, that's kind of something you can kind of wrestle with. Like Georgia, I don't see them top 5. I don't Kirby is a magician, like we've always seen it, but with the offense they're bringing back and the issues they've had off the field, that's a lot to bear. Texas is ranked 5. I'm surprised they're not within the first and second ranking because of Archie Manning and Steve Sarkisian and kind of building off last year and how far they went. Kind of looking at the 10 spot, Michigan, I'm shocked about that. I thought Michigan would kind of drop off a little bit for how many guys that have gotten drafted out of eligibility. Excuse me. So I think ESPN SB Plus, I'm a little conflicted with it, but if Alabama can really be the 2 coming into next season and continue that, then hey, I'll eat all the crow I want, seriously. But I'm a little shocked to see him at 2.
Yeah, it to me it's a little high, and I'll say this though, going back to the whole new playoff rules that we discussed earlier. I mean, say this was the way things finished, this will work out in Alabama's favor. Obviously, with the new top 4 teams getting those bye weeks, they're rewarded the bye weeks, right? So would it matter if we did win which I'd imagine if you finished 2 ahead of Georgia and Texas, you would have won the SEC championship. So it wouldn't really matter, but you get my point. If it's going off the top 4 teams, these would be the top 4 teams that did receive first round buys. But in terms of this list, I would shuffle it around a little bit too, Chase. Looking at this, I am high on Alabama, higher than most of these people are that had them 9 and 12. I would scoot Georgia back some. I'm just not too sold on the quarterback spot. I'm not sold on really as a team. I just don't think they just have that same dominant roster. I know they still have really good players. Don't get me wrong, but it's similar to what we've seen out of Alabama the past few years, not being as dominant at a number of positions. I feel like Georgia's kind of experienced in that as well. And then you throw into the equation quarterback. I'm not completely sold there. I would scoot them down a little bit. I would probably move Alabama maybe in that 5 range. I feel more comfortable there if I'm being completely honest with you. I'd bump Clemson up a little bit. I hate to do that, but look, you're talking about Clemson in the Atlantic Cupcake Conference, having a lot of talent on that football team. I just feel like they're going to probably end up having a good year, at least in the regular season, because they're not playing anybody. Now we'll see how they fare in the postseason, but I do believe that they'll probably end up being a little bit higher given their schedule and the talent that they have. I mean, they're kind of like a monopoly in the ACC, right? Oregon, I'm fine with there. Notre Dame, not really. It's not a problem. Michigan is interesting, Chase. I feel like some people are kind of putting a little bit more stock. I mean, a lot of people like the quarterback that they just signed, Bryce Underwood kid. People got to see him this spring. They thought he looked pretty impressive in the limited amount of, I guess, clips that they've seen, so to speak. So that one's interesting. I would probably move. So I think South Carolina is better than 17. I'll be honest. I think they're probably deserving of being a little bit higher. They've got Auburn at 25 here. That's pretty interesting. But in terms of the teams Alabama plays on this list, well, let's go through it. You've got Georgia, which we traveled to. Let's see. LSU, they've got it at 9. Tennessee, 13. Let's see. Oklahoma, 16. South Carolina, 17. Damn. And we play Missouri again, right, Chase? They come.
Yes, we do.
Or we go to Missouri. And then we go to Auburn. So if you look at this, I mean, Alabama's schedule is not going to be some easy feat. I mean, you've got 1, I should have been counting, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams on Alabama's schedule that is in this top 25 team, which makes you wonder, Chase. I mean, as talented as Alabama could be, again, this is a way too early list, but if it does come to fruition, I mean, let's think about how tough that schedule could be for the Crimson Tide. Could that end up getting in the way of what they want to accomplish, even as talented as they are? I think a lot of things are going to have to factor in. Talk about how they perform. I think, listen, I'll say this. One thing we hadn't talked about much, performing on the road, man, some more consistency there, Chase, I think would be huge. When you look at it this year, going to Georgia, going to South Carolina, you do go to Missouri, and you go to Auburn too. So gonna be definitely gonna be an interesting one this year, man. But I think it's gonna make for some good football games, which is always fun for us fans. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling on this Free for All Friday, and we are open on the phone lines 205-342-9904. If anybody wants to hop on, join in on the conversation, you can always drop questions, comments, concerns on the chat here on YouTube or on the app inbox that we have as well on that Tide 100.9 app. Quick timeout. We keep on rolling right here on this Free for All Friday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful with your...
Yeah, I mean, you look at the schedule. So that's 7 teams on there. Here's the schedule for 2025. At Georgia, at Missouri, at Auburn, at South Carolina. So 4 of those are on the road. Obviously, Oklahoma, LSU, and Tennessee are at home. So how we show up on the road is going to be huge, in my opinion, this year. Definitely going to be huge. And if you look at last year, definitely with some inconsistencies on the road. But really, and it hadn't just been last year. We all know, going back to 2022, road games have been a little bit weird for us in the last few years. So it's not just because, we got a new coach, nothing like that. I just think the last few years, we just haven't really performed as well on the road, which is interesting because that was kind of like, at least like when I was playing, we always enjoyed going on the road, man. I don't know. There's like a sense of pride in it. I think we just enjoyed that villain label. I don't know. I know I personally did. A lot of guys on defense felt the same way. We enjoyed it. Like, if anything, I'll be honest with you guys, I almost enjoyed playing on the road more than I did at home. Love playing at home, obviously. I mean, convenience of it, being with all the fans there, being in our home turf, it's always fun. But there's just something about, maybe it's, I don't know, my mindset personally, or just a defensive thing, but there's just like, man, there's not many feelings of, that come close to just going on the road and really like kicking somebody's door in, taking over the place, and just just cruising on out of there. Like, I don't know. I used to love that. Let's see. I think these next 2 seasons are years to make a strong run for Natties. I said last year, Southern, that I felt year 2 and 3 for the board would definitely probably be some strong years. I mean, again, looking at the schedule, I mean, I feel good about our team, but you look at this, it's not going to be easy, man. And clearly looking at 4 road games that you expect to be tough. And again, these are preseason top 25. Half these teams might not even really be on that list, might not even be anything that they're expected to be, but let's just say it's safe to assume there's a chance that they are. I mean, you got to show up and you got to be ready to go.
Yeah, you could be.
Because even though that target is not as big on our backs as it once was, because I feel like people have kind of gotten a taste of beating us. I hate to say it like that, but it's just the reality of it. People still, I mean, we're going to get everybody's best shot still, even though that target's not as big as it once was. Chris says, no way, bro. He won the Heisman beyond all the other stuff you named. Smitty ran elite routes and knew how to beat defenses, which helps him accomplish those accolades.
62 tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree
Sunday,
with you, Chris. That's what I
was
was saying, man. I'll be honest with you. I think potential-wise, Ryan's got a higher ceiling, but in terms of accomplishing all of that, I don't think hardly anybody.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Free for All Friday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Looking at a couple things here in the chat. We were talking about, this top 25 post-spring list from ESPN, showing Alabama a lot of love, having us at number 2. But you can't help but notice some of the other teams that we have ahead of us on our schedule. And clearly, you've got about 7 teams on that schedule, 4 of those being away games. Makes you think, obviously Alabama's expected to be a solid team. A lot of people are excited about year 2 under Kalen DeBoer, but you can't forget that there's definitely going to be some challenges in the way, and that's going to be critical on how Alabama shows up. That was one thing when I really think about this, Chase. last season. I'm just kind of, rerunning in my head, what were my thoughts after a number of games. I remember anytime I did the post game show, which again I do a post game show with Gray on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. One of the common themes was the inconsistencies. That really concerned me last season. It bothered me, and it really came back to bite us. If you really look at it, there were just so many ebbs and flows, right? Just put yourself back in last season. I know it's easy just to think about one or two games, but think about it as a whole. Last season was very interesting. I mean, early on in the year, we had a lot of ups. We hit a point, we started having some downs. We go on the road versus LSU. Things are back in front of us. We're over here thinking, oh, we're now back in position to be in the SEC championship game. All our goals are back in front of us after, losing to Vanderbilt and losing to Tennessee. A lot of people were losing the faith. Things fell back in our lap. We were controlling our destiny. Then what happens? We go on the road and we face an Oklahoma team that had struggled offensively all season long. We knew defensively Brent Venables always going to have a good game plan, especially for us, right? I know firsthand. But what happens? We got everything in front of us. Our goals are attainable again. And what happens? We go on the road to Oklahoma, and it's like we forget everything we know. And it won't even just that. I mean, I even think back to like the South Carolina game, right? I'm thinking, for South Carolina, them coming here, I knew that they're a good team, but I'm like, all right, hopefully this is the chance for us to, go out here and do what we need to do. That was let's call a spade a spade. That was a poor performance. I know we won the game, but guys, we very much should have lost that game. If you really go back and look at it, I mean, the interception before the half, and I know people, so the quarterback, but even the decision to like be that aggressive. I remember even just that play, I was just thinking, I'm like, where are we trying to go with that, really? I mean, we're throwing across the field. I don't even know if we really would have been set up to even the odds of us getting points on that. I mean, to me, I was just like a little too aggressive there. South Carolina picks it off. They put points on the board. I mean, if it wasn't for Lenora Sellers fumbling that ball chase late in the second half, I mean, really, we're talking about that probably should have been another loss. And not to mention, even at the end of the game, they almost had a chance to win it. There was just a lot last year, Chase, that I think sometimes we kind of forget about it because it's past us now. But those little details, and that's exactly what they were. I feel like there was a lack of attention to the little details, and that to me felt a little bit different to me. And I just hope that we can learn from that, and going into this year, we don't see that. We don't see so many lapses throughout, various points in a football game, because I do understand the point, and I want to be clear. Yes, even in 2022, there was, little details that were missing. There was, we were plagued with penalties. I'm not saying we were perfect, but last year, I mean, I just felt like they stood out to me a lot, even though they stood out in the past. But really, I don't know what it was last year. I just kept seeing that. And it was more so even just things that we shouldn't miss. And those are the moments I was like, that's why I understand, Coach Saban made such an emphasis on every little detail. He made such an emphasis on, even if we're up 30 points, if someone makes a mistake, he's going to chew you out like we're down 30 points, because it was all about the consistency, and not just with the big things, but really the little things. And that's really what I think made us so good, is that every little detail mattered. And I just remember last year, there's a lot of times I just watched this team and there was a lot of inconsistencies. And to me, I think that's going to be huge. I mean, you look at this year, schedule's not easy by any stretch. I think we'll be a better team, but we also still have a lot of challenges ahead, right? It's like, yeah, we've gotten better, but so did probably these other teams are playing, and the schedule is not easy. How do we show up in those games? Do we show up more consistent, right? Defensively, do we find ways to get off the field on third down? Do we find ways to stop, offenses that are throwing stuff at us that present a challenge? Are we able to adapt better, right? That was another thing, the lack of adjustments and in the ability to adapt to things that we struggle with. That needs to be improved this year. There's a number of things that come to mind when I think about it, but just looking at the schedule and talking about, playing on the road, like Southern made a good point here in the chat. She was saying Alabama used to be known for playing better away games than home games, and she's right. That's why I was, talking during the break with the chat here on YouTube that to me that's a mentality thing, right? And we kind of saw a little bit of a shift, but even before DeBoer got here, you go back and listen to Will Anderson's comments about going on the road and almost kind of having, the anxiety of losing, right? The pressure these guys were feeling. We never had that because we had Coach Cochran hammering in our head, like literally from this point, well, these guys will be back in a couple of days here now, but from now to, training camp, throughout training camp, like, we're the baddest dudes on the planet and can nobody mess with us. So by the time it, became game time, and not only that, did we have people telling us that, we were going out there and doing it. And when you just go out there and repeat something over and over and over, you instill confidence in yourself. And so for us, we were confident because, we weren't used to losing games. I was here 5 years, and Chase, I lost maybe 5 games, right? I'm not going to bore you guys trying to go through it, but lost, well, a couple more than that. But, 2014, we lost to Ole Miss, Ohio State in playoffs. That's 2. Next year, we only lost 1 game. That was to Ole Miss. That would be 3. The following year, we went undefeated and lost to Clemson. That'd be 4. The following year, we lost to Auburn, but then 1. That'd be 5. And then my senior year, yeah, Chase, I'm pretty sure I lost maybe 6 games my whole time that I was here in 5 years. So you talk about being confident. I didn't care if we were playing on the road, we were playing at home, or we had to fly to Africa and go play overseas somewhere. We always expected to win. And so hopefully these guys adapt that mentality. Looking at some of the clips, I didn't catch the whole SEC thing that they dropped. I forgot what it's called, All In, but it does seem like there were some other things he talked about. And I might dive into this a little bit here when we come back. We're going to go to the phone lines. We got Ram lined up after this timeout. But hearing Ryan Williams say things like, some guys weren't all in. Not going to lie, Chase, some people probably owe my dad an apology, right? I kind of hinted at it, but I didn't want to say it too much because I didn't want to seem like I was, being disrespectful to any of the coaches. But when my dad was saying, like, hey, it's kind of like the substitute teacher, not everybody's going to sit there and just, buy into the new guy around town. Now you hear the players literally saying that was the case. And we knew as former players that's kind of how it was. And my dad was very vocal about that. A lot of people didn't want to hear that, but it's kind of interesting that these guys are literally saying that was the case. But hopefully with some more buy-in comes some better results. So, all right, we got to hit a timeout. We come back. We go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got our buddy Ram up next, and we're going to keep on rolling on this free-for-all Friday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Don't buy your new or pre-owned Mercedes-Benz from anywhere other than Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. Their local team provides a 5-star buying experience and 5-star service. Shop local, MercedesofTuscaloosa.com, or go see them at 3200 Skyland Boulevard East, Tuscaloosa.
It's time to make your yard the best on the block with Memorial Day savings at the Home Depot. Start by keeping the weeds at bay with Earthgrow mulch, now 4 for $10. Then keep your garden thriving with Miracle-Gro garden soil, now on special buy, 4 for $10. Give your neighbors yard envy all summer long with Memorial Day savings going on now at the Home Depot.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world.
Ryan Williams player comp for me. Good question. I'll be honest. I feel like Smitty's actually a good comp. Similar frames, I would say. The way they play, obviously talent speaking, they're both extremely talented. They make, incredible, contested catches. Ryan, to me, has a little bit more after the catch ability than Smitty in terms of just like his elusiveness. Like, don't get me wrong, Smitty is definitely elusive too, but Ryan is a little bit more like that, really make guys look silly type guy in terms of, what he does after he catches the football. I think he's got a leg up there, in my opinion. Smitty's routes, man, are just smooth and crisp. But see, it's kind of hard. Like, Ryan's really young. I think he's really going to improve on his route running as he gets older. But I think I mean, Devontae Smith is actually a pretty solid comparison. I mean, I would even go. I mean, Justin Jefferson in terms of like his ceiling on what he could become. I think he could be a little Justin Jefferson-esque, and that's a really good comparison in terms of, well, not saying like, oh, I picked a great comparison, but I'm saying in terms of like somebody you want to play like, I mean, Justin Jefferson is the real deal. I mean, so that says something too. But yeah, I think Smitty's an easy one just because you just look at the body types, the frames, just playmaking ability. But I think, like I said, the difference there would be more so what they do after the football. I think Ryan might be a little bit better in that area. I don't even remember what Smitty's 40 was. What was Smitty's 40? I had to look. And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Sorry, guys, on the radio if you heard me just thinking out loud. I was talking to the chat on the YouTube stream. We had a good question. Ryan Williams, player comp. Chase, I said, I mean, Devontae Smith immediately comes to mind, similar body types, them being, thinner guys, the wiry kind of guys, but really good athletes, great, catch radius, the contested catch ability. You see them make, some very, I mean, you look at Smitty and his ability to, I mean, that dude, you throw the ball up, Smitty's finding a way to come down with it, man. Smitty's not the biggest, but he just does a great job with his body positioning, his acrobatic control. I mean, his body control, making those acrobatic type catches. He's a machine, man. Really smooth route runner, does a really nice job with his routes. I was saying I think Ryan could improve a little bit with his route running, but again, we're talking about a 17-year-old. You get what I'm saying? So in terms of that, that's only going to get better. But even, I mean, like, I think like down the road, you talk about like Justin Jefferson, like, his ability to what he does, even, after, the ability after the catch, I think Ryan is better in, in that category than Smitty. Than I think Justin Jefferson kind of comes to mind a little bit. I don't know. But that's a really good question. So that's what I was talking about over here. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program. We got Ram on the phone lines. Ram, welcome in.
Christian, y'all doing okay?
Yeah, man, doing well, man. It's been a while. How have you been?
I've been doing good. I got married, man.
Did you really? Oh, congrats, man. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I did. This beautiful lady I've been going with for a while, and we went to Las Vegas, had a Christian wedding, and I left a lot of money out there.
Hey, man, as long as you had a great experience, man, you found your partner, you got your wife, man, that's all that matters, right?
Right. We had a great time. Christian, awesome. I agree with you on that South Carolina game.
Yeah.
I was at that game. It was, if he hadn't, like you said, if he hadn't fumbled, I don't know if we'd have been able to come out of there with a win.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I just remembered the most last year. I mean, there's just a couple times I look at those games that we played, and it's just like, man, like there were just a few things that consistently just had me scratching my head. Like I feel like each game we were due for a few things for me to be like well, what are we doing right here? Like, well, why are we doing this? And I just feel like if we want to be a championship contender again, if we want to make a deep run in the play, I mean, you got to clean up on those things, man. You have to.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, the details. But a comment I got about the expansion.
Yeah,
I'm all for it if it gives more money to the schools. I mean, they need it now with the NIL, and I'm sure they put the pencil to it to determine that. It's got to be beneficial. I would think they've got that figured out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Wyatt gave us a much better explanation on how that stuff works. I mean, obviously, the more games being played, the more money, and as long as it's benefiting these schools and they can reinvest it and pour it back into everything that they offer to these athletes. I mean, I'm for it, but I think expansion. I mean, again, at the end of the day, everything's a business. It's all about money. That's really what it boils down to, Ram, if we're being honest here.
Yeah, you're right, and it's the genie's out of the bottle on that one.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And I'm not going to keep you long, but I've been wanting to ask you this question.
Yeah.
When your defense, the defense you played on, and you, especially y'all had juice.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all had pretty good juice. How does our team look to you? You got a experienced eye. What team speed? Are we looking better than average, or?
You said in terms of team speed, or what was the category, Ram? Or did you say just juice?
Well, defense, juice, team speed overall.
So well, I would put those in different categories, but I would say juice. I would say they've got a lot of it. Being out there this spring, man, they were getting after it. Defense always does a nice job. Anytime I was out there at a scrimmage or a practice, I always noticed that the defense, man, they fly around when guys make plays. They celebrate each other, not in like a, they're doing too much type of way, but they're having fun. They're flying around having fun. That's one of the biggest things that I think sometimes is lost, especially when you play at a high level. Sometimes you forget, man. At the end of the day, we're playing a game with the ball that we've been playing since we were kids. And when you play loose, you play relaxed, and you're having fun, that's typically when you're going to play your best. I like that this defense allows that. It allows them to be a little bit more loose, play more free. And I like the energy that these guys bring, man. Like, when they force turnovers, when a guy makes an interception, the whole sideline's running down the sideline with them. There's a lot of that going on. So that's good to see. Offensively, same thing. I mean, offensive line gets fired up when, they have a big run. Guy makes a nice catch. They're fired up. So, yeah, the juice right now I would say is really, really good with this team in terms of team speed. It looks to me like they've been playing fast. They've been flying around. One thing last year that I felt like we needed to be better at was the, physicality. At times we didn't look as physical as we needed to be, especially on the defensive side of the football, but really just in the trenches, I felt like we just lacked some physicality. From what I saw, like guys were getting after it in practice. There was some physicality there, but I'll have a better gauge once we get back into fall, camp. Spring is competitive. They get after it. Don't get me wrong, but fall camp is really is go time, and you're really, you're hammering things down and getting ready for the season. So I'm excited to get back out there during fall camp, but that is one thing I do want to see more of this fall is to get back to being that team that, teams are scared to get hit in the mouth by. Guys are going to, they know when you're lined up against Alabama, you're playing a physical team. That was one of our big identities, and I felt like it was one of the reasons we had so much success. We would hit guys in the mouth, and we could outlast them. We do it for 60 minutes in the game. So if they can get back to that standard, especially on defense, that's where I kind of felt there's a little bit of lack of it at times. I think that'll be huge. So I think the physicality definitely is something to look out for, and hopefully we see more of that.
Well, I do too. And on the comparison between Smitty and Ryan, if he gets half the accolades that Smitty got, that'll be phenomenal, really.
Yeah.
Smitty you couldn't get any more than he got.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, as good as Ryan is, and I expect him to be in his career, Smitty basically hit the lottery in terms of everything he walked away with. And I shouldn't say the lottery because it wasn't by chance. It was, by what he earned. But, you talk about every accolade and award. I don't know what else Smitty could have even won. He walked away with pretty much a clean sweep, man. And I just don't, again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. Football, a lot of things have to fall in place. That's why a lot of guys, you see quarterback, they win an award. What do? They go, gift the whole offensive line, their receivers, something. They know that. So for Ryan Williams to have those, look, I think the numbers will be there, but will he be able to walk away with all those awards? We'll have to see. One thing I do know, Ram, is when the team has success, there's a lot more individual success as well. So if the team is winning, he's going to be a lot more favored to win because he's going to be a finalist for all these awards. All those awards we just named, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be a finalist for them. But what's going to help put him over the edge, not only will it be his numbers, but I think if the team is playing good, that always helps guys get that final nod to really be the winner of an award.
Right, you're right. And who is the kid at Ohio State? I can't remember his name.
Jeremiah Smith, and that's the other thing, man. That's a really good point. They're both the same age. They're going to be going neck and neck in terms of the Biletnikoff, hell, even the Heisman conversation. So that's what I mean by a number of things have to go right, Ram. I mean, he's got another guy over at Ohio State who's in the same class as him, same position, who is, I mean, just as talented, if not, some might say a little bit, even a little bit more talented, at least right now where they're at. So it's going to be fun to watch those two guys for the next 2 seasons.
It sure will. It sure will. Hope they both stay healthy.
Absolutely.
Well, Christian, I'm going to let you go. You and Chase have a good long weekend, and I'll talk with you next week. And thank you for talking to me.
Oh, absolutely, man. Good to hear from you, Ram, and congrats again on the new wedding you just had, and look forward to hearing from you soon, man. Good deal. Let's see, Chase. We can go ahead and roll another one. I know we're close to a break. Worst case, we just combine them, but let's just keep on rolling since we got everybody lined up. This always happens, though, right? Everybody wants to talk at the same time. Everybody call. We get a big flood. Let's just keep on rolling. We got Robbie up next. Robbie, what's up, man?
Hey, what's happening, Christian?
What's up, man? Long time no hear.
Yeah, it's been a while. I usually talk to Gary, but I listen to the shows all the time. And you're talking about football and how the mentality that y'all had, and that was undeniable that Coach Saban installed y'all and Coach Cochran, and y'all won so many games getting off the bus. You heard that all the time. When you got off the bus, the other team was beat. And
yeah,
how do you get that back when you have the transfer portal the way it is, kids leaving so quick? I mean, y'all were here 4 and 5 years, bought into the system. You had players coming back, talking to y'all, what was expected of y'all, how to do things. How do you get that back when you're not going to have players coming back talking to you? I mean, you have some now, but, that was under Saban. Like, I just want to see how Bama gets that identity back without just recruiting. I mean, you got to buy in, and because everyone has good players.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to happen?
Man, great question. We always, me and my dad talk about it, man. A lot of teams take on the persona of their coach. Now, obviously, Coach DeBoer is a little bit different, has a different temperament than a guy like Nick Saban, but it can still come from other guys. It doesn't always have to be the head coach, but I think having coaches and guys in place that, number one, know the standard, and number two, that are going to enforce it, I think that's always important. Those guys help establish that culture. Having guys like Josh Chapman, Clinton Dix, Denzel Duvall, those guys still around the program, I think that helps a lot. They've experienced the tradition. They know it. I mean, they can help, enforce that as well. And then I think you just have to, like you mentioned recruiting, it's not the whole thing, but it's a big thing. You got to go out there and get dogs, right? I mean, we always talk about it. I mean, the guys we played, I mean, like those guys came in here with stuff that you couldn't really coach. I mean, like, yes, Bo Davis, jumped those guys and he made that, he really brought the most out of them. But at the same time, he didn't have to turn Jaron Reed into a dog. Jaron Reed showed up a dog. John Allen showed up a dog.
Yeah.
He just pulled it out even more, and he let them roam. You know what I mean? I think it's important to have a number of those guys. If I'm being completely honest with you, we haven't had as many of those guys in recent years. I mean, I'll even give you an example, like Will Anderson, super, super talented. We all know how talented. I mean, one of the best guys to come through here. But even like, his demeanor, like he had that dog, how he played, but he wasn't going to be the first guy to really jump you and really get on. Does that make sense? Like even like Bryce Young, as talented as Bryce Young was, we all knew Bryce Young's not going to be that guy to really have that type of fire. I think if you could find a few more guys that feel more comfortable being that way, I think that would help. And you just got to have a culture where guys understand that and respect that. I mean, we had a culture where Reuben Foster, as tough as he was, he also could take it from another coach, or not coach, excuse me, another player, if he, was falling short of the standard, right? Somebody that wasn't necessarily on his level. He was willing to accept that because that was a culture we built. We all held each other accountable, and that's what's most important. Everybody has to be on the same page. You got to hold each other accountable. And when you have good leadership that enforces that, guys like Booker and those guys, I know he left, but that type of leadership, you need more and more of it, and you got to have everybody else to buy into it and hold each other accountable. And I think that's probably the best way to do it. But it's a really good question, man. And hopefully we see more of that. I mean, with football, culture is everything.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, with being a part of the A club, I started worrying about that. Like, are we going to have an A club 30 years from now with all the players just in every sport? Like, everyone leaves. And who are you going to be loyal to? So I knew y'all always came back and talked to the players. So I was wondering if that's still going to happen with so many people, leaving. But I hope Alabama's back. I mean, I want to see it. As far as Ryan Williams, man, if he can do anything like Smitty, which he has the talent, and Smitty had a lot of help around him too. He had some other good receivers that took a little pressure off, even though how great he was. But Ryan's gonna have some help from them other receivers too.
Yeah, well, luckily he's got a good group of guys in that room.
He's got a good group.
Yeah. And I mean, numbers wise, he's gonna. I mean, again, as a freshman at 17 years old, I mean, he put up damn near 900 yards, 800 and something yards, I think it was. 865. Yeah. So I mean, numbers wise, he's going to put up numbers. It's just, I mean, what Smitty walked away with. I mean, I don't think people understand. Yeah, exactly. I don't think people understand how hard. I mean, think about how many talented receivers we've had come through here. How many talented receivers have come through really college football, and still they did not walk away as decorated as Smitty. So it's hard to touch. But if, like you said, if he could even come close, which he will, he's in good shape, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year, I hope.
I hope so too, man.
Games. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, those road ones
have
will
a
be
good
tough.
holiday weekend.
Yeah, you too, Robbie. Good to hear from you, man.
All right. Good talking to you. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide, brother. That was Robbie Glenn, former Alabama baseball player. Good deal. All right, let's keep on rolling, Chase. If we can, let's just combine breaks. That way we can squeeze everybody in. All right, we got Q06 up next. Q06, welcome in, brother.
Man, I feel bad talking about the transplanting your mustache on Coach DeBoer.
Come on, man. Come on. Wait, you feel bad for me or him? I mean, I'm hoping him.
Tia got me riled. I'm sorry, man. That was my fault. But hey, Coach's hairdo is gone, man. That must be a lot of pressure coaching at Alabama, man, because that hair is done.
Cut it out. Q. His hair. He's always had that. Q.
It's people that wear hats all the time. I think that's what it is. A lot of guys wear hats.
I mean, male spot pattern baldness is a thing, man. Come on, man.
Can our phenom? He's only 18 or 17. Can he do it next year? Man, I don't know. He's got a lot of guys to go up against. The guy from Ohio State is not a slouch. I mean, their numbers were kind of close last year on, maybe he had 800 yards, maybe at 700 yards. But man, I don't see it, man. It's going to be tough. A lot of football. A lot of guys want the football.
Yeah, I was going to say
you only got one ball.
Yeah, and you can't get it to everybody. But obviously, we can all assume Ryan's going to see the most targets. Now, don't get me wrong. Jeremy Bernard's going to be targeted. Isaiah Horton's going to be targeted. Could that? When I say take away from Ryan, I'm not saying like, oh, he's not going to get it. But you get what I'm saying. For example, like you look at a year when we had Amari Cooper and he was like our premier guy, like in 2014. Obviously, he's getting so many. I mean, his numbers are going to be through the roof because he's Blake Sims' favorite target. I'd argue that it's almost like it works in a good way and a bad way in terms of like, his production, because in one way, obviously teams can't just overly focus on Ryan because then you're leaving all these other talented guys open, but at the same time, they could kind of end up dispersing the ball more across the board and, he doesn't get as many targets. But in terms of Jeremiah Smith, I mean, that dude went for 1,300 yards last year, 15 touchdowns, and obviously was a national champion. So he's got the leg up on Ryan right now, but obviously, this upcoming year is a new year, and we'll see what they do with it.
Well, let me say this because I don't know nothing about wide receivers and running routes, but I'm glad he's hanging out with Smitty because he didn't run a lot of good routes last year. You could tell that he was a freshman. A lot of times he took himself out, and it was even mentioned many times that he didn't run good routes. So hopefully that's going to be a situation where he's going to improve by going out there and working with guys. I mean, yeah, he's fast, and yeah, he could get over the top. But I think that people are going to watch some tape. And hey, they're going to remember the tape from last year. They're going to try to D him up differently, I do believe. So
yeah, you're going to see a lot of bracket coverage, bracket coverage is double teams. I mean, they're definitely going to put a lot of focus on them, and so you can expect that. But again, the good news is you've got a cast of receivers that are expected to also be some really good, weapons for Ty or whoever it is slinging the football. So Yeah, no, and I agree with you. And that's what I was saying about his route. Again, I want to be clear. I mean, like compared to other guys, he probably runs much better routes. But from football eye, like you just mentioned, you could see the freshman in him at times, right? Because we're talking about little details, just like you heard Coach DeBoer talk about knowing the little nuances and things, especially in their system, what's expected. Those little things flash. And again, makes total sense. He was 17 years old. I fully expect next year and the year after his route running to be even better, much better. I mean, again, he did a lot of good stuff last year. So I don't want people to hear what I said earlier when I said, I think Smitty was a little bit smoother. Again, I'm comparing Smitty when he was a little bit older to Ryan as a 17-year-old. So that's expected, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's not a fair comparison, man. You can go
Exactly.
like that. But I mean, sometimes look like him and Miller wasn't on the same page. Sometimes they look great. I mean, all everyone's gonna remember is the Georgia game last year. They're not gonna remember much anything else about highlights the rest of the year for him. Think about it. Go back and look at the tape. That was he had a little run. He had a run in that game. That was it. For me. But I'm hating like I hated on the mustache yesterday. I'm hating a little bit. All I want the kid to do is go work harder. If he is the phenom that everybody says he is, go work. Go to work right now. Work on your craft. Make sure you're ready to go. If you got a quarterback that can get you the ball, yeah, he'll be up there. He'll get to be a finalist. But if the quarterback can't get you the ball, he's going to catch the same amount of catches that Q catching up here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Out here where the Indianapolis 500 is about to take place. Out here at Carb Day. Out here next to, never mind, I ain't drinking on beverages. Chillers. 2 chillers.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
You're cool,
Guys, have a
man.
great weekend. I said a mouthful. Hey, I catch you guys back on Tuesday, and hopefully me and he'll get back in the chat and go back against each other. It's kind of fun yesterday. Chopping it up. And Christian, have a great weekend, man. I'll see you. Chase, take care.
You too, man. Appreciate you. Have a blessed and safe Memorial Weekend as well, Q. All right, we got one last call. We got a few minutes. We'll get Ragged on here to close us out. Ragged, welcome in.
You know what, Christian? And this is all Chase's fault. All this Latin music, yep. And you know me and Larry and everybody else with music. Man, I'm craving Mexican food. So here's what I'm going to tell you right now. Got to throw a monkey wrench in your gearbox.
Uh-oh.
¿Cómo estás, frijoles, amigo? Y hermano? Yep, you started it all off with Spanish.
I did, but I'm ¿cómo estás, frijoles? I mean, how are you? Wait, beans? Maybe frijoles.
How are you, beans?
Yeah, but is frijoles is that slang in the country or?
It was slang in Southern California with me and my friends.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'll okay. See that, and that's the thing about Spanish is that depending on the accent or the dialect, man, I knew exactly what you said, but I'm like, wait, did he just call me Beans? I'm like, that's got to be like a nickname.
¿Cómo estás, Beans?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's funny.
But it's cool. Have you applied yet to coach a flag football team?
I have not, because I saw a Twitter post actually that said people are thinking Tom Brady. Actually, no, I'm sorry, I read it wrong. They said that he should be the quarterback. Actually, but no, I haven't, Ragged, but I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to look for that application after the show.
You know what? No worries. I just thought to mess you up today, and you know what? Have a happy Memorial Weekend. Chase, you do the same.
Oh, yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Have a great Memorial Weekend, and we'll holler at you next week. Did it maybe remember, Chase? I should have reminded everybody. Monday, I'm assuming I hadn't even asked you yet. We're not going to be doing the show Monday. Is that correct, Chase?
That is correct.
Right. So that being said, hope everybody does have a great Memorial Day weekend. Nice long weekend to relax. I'm going to relax a little bit because, man, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little worn down, man. I had a long week. You can probably tell my voice, my allergies, and all that, man. So I'm going to kick back and relax. But another great week here on the Miller's Edge, Title 9.9, 1230 WTBC, live on YouTube as well. Big thanks to all of our listeners via radio, via the app, via YouTube, and our chat. Again, love that we're building up our community over here. It's always fun to hang out with you guys, just like Q06 is down in the chat calling me Mustache Man. Got to love it. And now we got Chase. I love that we're building a bilingual community as well. We've got We've got Ragged calling in, speaking Spanish. We got Justin in the chat saying he wants to learn. Q is already learning, so I love it. So maybe we'll start doing a little bit more Spanish on the side. I don't know. But shout out to Chase Behind the Glass for making everything work. Shout out to all you guys listening. Shout out to everybody for the support. And we will see you guys next week. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. We'll see you right here on the Miller's Edge. Shout out 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. See you next week.